What's up, guys? Chris here with another manga chapter review for Four Knights of the Apocalypse. And this one, I have to say, is honestly really good, and I'm liking that there's not really any types of plot holes or inconsistencies in the power scaling, despite the reveal of Percival's magical power and how he basically came back to life in the previous chapter. And as much as I like that Percival isn't dead, I have to state that I felt in that last chapter that things were going a bit quickly in regards to Percival getting a fake-out death, to the point of him literally basically just dying, facing off against Ironside, then him coming back to life, and the full extent of his magical power. It was stated by a lot of people on the Reddit, and I kind of had to agree. It's something that was in the back of my mind, but I didn't want to say it at the moment. It didn't come to mind when I was recording last week's video. But with this week, after reading this chapter, last week's chapter, chapter 20, actually did feel kind of rushed to an extent. Not like full-blown, oh man, they're rushing more towards the end of the story or the midway point with these scenes. But it did feel like things were going a bit too quickly for my taste. But with this chapter, more or less rectifies any real concerns I had. So once again, I'm really happy, and it does show that Nakba is really thinking about how the rest of the series is going to be planned out and what could happen next. And without further ado, let's start jumping into the video. But don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really helps and boosts the channel's popularity and algorithm. I have been really climbing in the subscribers recently, so I'm hoping to get by the end of the summer to 1,000 subscribers due to the amount of, well, subs I've been getting over the past few months, and I'm very close to going to 600 subscribers. So if you guys can help me get to there, thank you very much, and all the power to you guys, and I really appreciate it. Also, if you want to help support the channel and help more videos come out in the future, I've set up a Patreon account with multiple tiers, with a special Discord, and some rewards to an extent that are implied with the Discord, as well as shoutouts and video requests with higher tiers. So I'd really appreciate it if you guys would help out the channel by doing these pledges on Patreon. I also have a Ko-fi account set up. I will be doing like specific tweets every once in a while. I might even try and do some updates on Ko-fi on potential video ideas I have. And if you guys really want that video idea, go to and you want it done within like a week or so, go to Ko-fi, and so I can help accelerate this the video making process, as I hire editors to help make these videos come out a lot quicker. I do want to make sure that they get paid the amount that they deserve, since all these videos that have been coming out have been nothing but top quality, and I'm just happy that I get to work with such amazing people. But with all that said and done, let's get on with the video. Four Knights of the Apocalypse, Chapter 21, titled Hope. And I just like this little cover page. While it's not colored, this nice cover page really shows an adult Bulgus looking after a baby Percival, and it's just nice and sweet and wholesome. A nice contrast to how the recent chapters of the arc have been like. So we start off where we left off last week, with Percival hovering over the air with his magical power glowing at full extent, with him holding his friends up in the air to keep them out of harm's way. As we see Percival high in the air, his friends a little confused of what's going on, and Ironside staring up at him. Percival is remembering some of his grandfather's final words. You'll need to find it now, someone precious whose heart you can trust as you walk together in life. As Percival exclaims in his head, I found them, Grandpa. And then he states, Percival, my beloved grandson, you are mine. And if we go back to the very first chapter, the ending of that sentence was Bulgus saying that Percival was his hope. So it heavily implies that maybe Bulgus had an idea of what Percival's magical power might have been like, despite Percival not unlocking any type of magic when he was so young. And it might have played into why he took Percival away from Ironside when he was just a baby. Pure speculation, but yeah, and it's all goes into this chapter, so it's highly possible that Percival's magical power is the hope from other people. So yeah, I'm liking this. I'm liking we're already going full circle with what Bulgus said at the beginning of the chapter, at the beginning of the series in the first chapter, and it is still very good foreshadowing and setup for Percival's power. But going on, after Ironside hears what Percival said last chapter, he questions, hope? Converting people's feelings into your power? Preposterous. As he screams out to someone called Derek, which I assume is one of his Chaos Beasts, saying, "What's the delay? Where are the sacrifices?" And he's already set the stage for the rest of rituals. So like somehow. But then we cut to a nice 2-page spread of a bunch of different action scenes. We see his chaotic familiar saying that they've got trouble. As Chaos Beasts are attacking the civilians, a white ray of light is going on and eradicating each and every one of them. Saying, as the familiar says, that the dead are being destroyed one after another by a mysterious attacker. Ironside wants to know who it is, but the familiar says that they don't know. They're a complete unknown. As Ironside just continues to ask what is going on, as it appears that it's possible that his familiar was also taken out by this mysterious attacker. As up in the air, the group does see that the monsters are being taken down, as On points out. Nazian questions if it's a Course of Holy Knights that showed up, but Don says that that is probably Sin's backup, and that he can't believe it. I'll come back to this page by the end of the video for a quick little speculation on who this mysterious attacker could be and who Sin might actually be, once again at the end of this chapter. Percival points towards Ironside and proclaims that he's lost. Ironside says begrudgingly, "Yes, it seems so," saying that Percival has grown so much in such a short time, and that he's sure that his grandfather Vargas, which I believe is the official translation, wanted to see this. That if he wanted to see this. As Percival just yells out in anger, "You're the one who killed him." Ironside says, "Yes, I was ordered to do it, but it was by my own hand. I tried to kill my son twice, no less." Ironside throws his blade to the floor and says, "We will never meet again. I'll be called to task for my failure and executed." So this goes to show possibly how badly he will be punished for everything that has happened. He failed to kill Percival and he failed to use the coffin. But Ironside says that he deserves it. Ordered to or not, he strayed from the path. Percival is looking kind of sad for him, as Ironside asks for Percival to see his face one last time so that he can recall it in his final moments. Percival is considering it. Even Nazians and Donnie are thinking or are trying to call out to him, but On calls Ironside out on his bullshit, saying that he's trying to trick him and deceive him, and that he's nothing but a dark mound of lies, as we see, thanks to On's ability, that Ironside is just lying out of his ass so much, with no remorse. He has no apology, no regret, or repentance, and no love in his voice or what he's trying to do. His ritual's foiled, and he just wants to kill Percival now, no strings attached. With some nice rumbling noise, sound effects that I like that Nakaba put in. Ironside, in pure anger, we see in this one panel, On's insight only fueled Ironside's rage, and at that moment, every fiber of his being was focused on his target, as he then waves his hands to create a bunch of slashes in the air to try and kill them all in one fell swoop, and another 2-page spread, which the top panel showing Percival managing to outrun the magical crossbeams, trying to cut up him and his friends. As Ironside continues, seemingly futilely, to try and cut up Percival and everyone, as Percival continues to pull everyone alongside, away from the attacks. And while the narration does feel a bit out of place, I have to say I'm liking it. As it states, taking in the feelings of his companions, Percival's power and speed ballooned. Meanwhile, Nazian's purified henbane took a clear toll on Ironside's movement. So it also shows that despite Percival getting this seeming power up, Nazian's poison is still doing something to Ironside and is nerfing him tremendously. So I am liking that. Percival is not super overpowered right now after awakening his hope-based powers, and Ironside is still clearly closing in on him. And it's very clear from this narration that Ironside probably would have hit them a few times if it wasn't for Nazian's hellbane giving him that poison. Percival basically just starts plopping down a bunch of mini golems, creating a smoke screen in front of Ironside, as Ironside just says he knows exactly where they are, as Percival tries to show up behind him. Percival dodges out of the way, getting a clear hit on his cheek. As the narration continues to say, even so, Percival had no chance at a successful frontal attack. As Sin advised, there was still no clear difference in strength. So there was a clear difference in strength, and I'm liking that it's elaborating this. I think Nakaba probably caught a bit of a mistake with introducing Percival's magical power and its nature. So I think he's rectifying it with these little narration bubbles, explaining what's going on and the difference in the abilities of Percival and Ironside, just so no one gets, a little pissed off and confused at what's going on. And honestly, while narration again is a bit out of place, I'm okay with it. This clears up a lot of things, so this I don't really mind too much. As the narration continues to say that Ironside's well-honed technique, experience, and all-consuming focus brought attacks closer and closer to Percival, as we continue to see that every single attack continues to get closer to him with each single strike. Percival exclaims that the next shot ends it, as now he's running straight towards Ironside, and then that the next action will decide the battle. Ironside says, "You cannot hit me, Percival. You cannot fell me." And Percival says, "No, but I'm going to win." Ironside doesn't know what's going on, but he's like, "You still seek the coffin," as he turns around and he realizes that the coffin is high up in the air. Donnie's presence didn't even register to Ironside, so Ironside didn't even realize that Donnie's magical power was able to bring the coffin up high into the air to get it out of his way, which means Ironside can't, in a quick amount of time between that and what Percival is about to lead up to, grab the coffin. With that, Percival creates a magical blade from his magical aura, and he then slashes at the coffin as fast as he possibly can. With a huge gust of wind in the aftermath, the coffin begins to crack, and then all 5 pieces disperse, falling to the ground. As Donnie says, "Now we gotta get a piece." As everything keeps falling, we also see that Percival also managed to slice up Ironside's helm. As we see his face, we get the face reveal of Ironside in this chapter. I am all for it. As in the last page, everyone's wondering, that's Ironside's face? That's your father, Percival? As with an angry look, Ironside says, "Now you've done it," as we get an after image showing how closely he resembles Vulgus, thus fully cementing that he was telling the truth, that Ironside was in fact Percival's father. Because despite all this, it's highly possible that maybe Ironside might not have been who he says he was, because he was holding that helmet. But now this 100% confirms it. But yeah, this chapter was really good. I'm liking that Nakaba caught his mistake, or the problem with introducing Percival's magical power last chapter being basically hope and bring him back to life, but not being it like an end game sudden power friendship type deal that will win him the fight instantly for him to take out his opponent. And that it's a bunch of different factors that is actually keeping them alive and actually managing to get the coffin to break up into multiple pieces. Nazium's earlier attack, thanks to An managing to wound him and give him some sort of poison to hinder his movements, made it so that Ironside couldn't land any direct blows on Percival after his brief power-up. But it's still very clear, even with Percival gaining some speed and momentum, he was still unable to land a single blow on Ironside even now. Aside from the helm, everything else basically was countered and dodged directly. And I like how this whole fight was a literal team effort, down to Nazium's poison, An's earlier swords play, Percival being brought back to life with everyone's hope and belief in him, An realizing that Ironside was lying straight up to Percival, because Percival, as kind-hearted as he is, he probably would have believed Ironside and then probably would have gotten killed and stabbed again as he went up to Ironside to try and see redeeming qualities in him. And even down to Donnie coming back, because at this point, if Donnie did not come back, chances are Percival's revival would have taken a lot longer, or everyone would have been straight up killed by Ironside right before Percival would have possibly revived. And if Donnie didn't show up and use his gravity magic to elevate the coffin straight into the air, Percival will not have the chance to slice it up and break it up back into its multiple pieces, stopping the ritual. So this fight, while I do see last chapter with Percival coming back with a fake of death, and seemingly his main power being the power of friendship to an extent, I'm still liking that this fight still took a team effort, and if one single person was not around, chances are they would have completely lost. Now, before I end off this little review, I want to add some little speculation to who Sin could very well be. Now, a lot of people are thinking that Sin has very close connections to either Bon or Meliodas, as Sin is a fox and Bon is the fox, and that is a very obvious thing. And Meliodas is the king of Leonis, and since Sin is bringing them straight to Leonis, it's very possible that Sin has a very strong connection to the Holy Knights of Leonis. Which brings to account who the attacker might actually be that's saving the town. Sin went off to try and do something to stop all these Chaos Beasts from killing all the civilians. So it's very possible that Sin's fox form is not his actual appearance, or maybe he went off to summon someone else. Maybe the attacker was Bon, because the way the magic was moving around, it was very similar to how Bon's, chain staff nunchucks would be like when he imbued them with magical power and tried to like snatch things and slice stuff apart. While I don't think it's Bon, it would be amazing if the first Sin we meet is Bon, and Sin is actually his like familiar or pet or something. But it's also possible it could be Holy Knights from Britannia. We're not entirely sure, but with how the magical attack was portrayed and how accurate everything seems to be, it's highly possible it might be Bon or maybe even a grown-up Lancelot. And with the end of this series arc, another member of the Four Knights of the Apocalypse being introduced before we getting to Leonis and meeting Tristan would honestly not be too bad. But that's honestly all I can really talk about on what this mystery attacker could be and how this arc can introduce another member of the Four Knights or one of the Sins. Overall, another good chapter of Four Knights of the Apocalypse, and while the narration was a little iffy with its random placement to explain everything that was going on, I felt it was kind of necessary for Knockabout to put in this narration, as people would be very confused and critical and questionable of the progression of Percival as a character and his strength. So I'm glad that we got more information that Percival is still not on Ironside's level yet. But yeah, with all that said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. What did you guys think of this chapter? Let us down in the comments down below. What do you think is going to happen next? What do you think of Percival's full explanation that Percival's new powers still don't put him on par with Ironside at the point? And what do you think Sin's backup was, or if this is actually Sin's plan? Let me know down in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really helps. And I do want this channel to get up there. That way I can continue to make great content for you guys and maybe expand to different videos in the future. And with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.